First contact in the frost. Maya Chen hadn't expected to find anything but ice and silence during her routine maintenance check of Mining Station Europa 7. For 6 years, she'd worked as the station's primary engineering specialist, maintaining the delicate equipment that extracted precious metals from Europa's frozen crust. The job suited her, quiet, methodical, and far from Earth's overcrowded cities. But today, something pierced that familiar silence. A sonic boom high in Europa's thin atmosphere, followed by a streak of purple light that carved through the perpetual twilight. Maya tracked the object's descent through her helmet's heads-up display, watching as it crashed 3 kilometers from her position. "Control, this is Chen," she reported, already moving toward her rover. "Unknown object made impact in Sector 7. Requesting permission to investigate." "Negative, Chen," came the immediate response. "Stay at your post until we can analyze." The rest of the transmission dissolved into static. Maya checked her communications array. Dead. Whatever had crashed was generating interference across all frequencies. She knew protocol demanded she return to base. She also knew that anything capable of disrupting their hardened comm systems posed a potential threat to the entire station. "Sorry, Control," she muttered, climbing into her rover. Better to ask forgiveness than permission. The crash site was easy to spot. A glowing purple gash in Europa's icy surface. As Maya approached, her instruments began registering impossible readings. The ice around the impact wasn't melting. It was being systematically deconstructed at the molecular level. She parked 50 meters from the edge of the anomaly and proceeded on foot, her magnetic boots crunching against the frozen surface. The object responsible for the crash was unlike anything she'd ever seen. A teardrop-shaped pod of some iridescent material that seemed to shift colors as she watched. A seam appeared in its surface, and Maya instinctively dropped behind an ice formation. What emerged made her question her sanity. The figure was humanoid but clearly alien. Tall and elegant, with skin the color of an aurora and hair that moved like liquid silver. It wore what appeared to be ceremonial armor, now cracked and sparking. The alien took 2 steps and collapsed. Maya's training told her to wait for backup. Her humanity told her someone was hurt and needed help. It wasn't really a contest. She approached carefully, medical kit in one hand, plasma cutter in the other. The alien's eyes snapped open at her approach. They were faceted like diamonds, and just as hard. "Stay back, primitive," the alien commanded in perfect English, though its mouth didn't move. "I am Zeravel, 3rd scion of the luminous tide. This situation is far beyond your comprehension." Maya snorted, her initial awe giving way to irritation. "What I comprehend is that you're injured, your ship is dead, and Europa's temperature drops another 30 degrees when night hits in about 2 hours. But sure, freeze to death with your dignity intact." The alien, Zeravel, tried to rise and failed. Those crystalline eyes narrowed. "You dare mock me?" "I dare to try saving your life," Maya replied, kneeling beside her. "Your choice if you want to let pride kill you." For a long moment, they stared at each other. Then, surprisingly, Zeravel laughed. A sound like wind through crystal. Perhaps I have been too hasty in my judgment. "You are Maya Chen, engineering specialist, Europa Mining Station 7. And we need to move. Now." She nodded toward the horizon, where Jupiter's massive bulk was beginning to eclipse the distant sun. "That armor's impressive, but it won't keep you alive through a Europan night. My escape pod's environmental systems are failing," Maya interrupted, checking her scanner. "Whatever brought you down fried most of its systems. The molecular deconstruction field is about to collapse, and when it does, this whole area is going to refreezing fast." Zeravel's expression shifted from haughty to concerned. "You are surprisingly well-informed for a primitive. And you're surprisingly chatty for someone bleeding silver onto the ice. Can you walk?" The alien managed to stand, though Maya saw the effort it cost. "I will manage. Though I warn you, If this is some ploy to take me captive. Yeah, you'll vaporize me or turn me into a crystal or whatever it is advanced aliens do, Maya sighed, supporting some of Zeravel's weight. Right now, let's focus on getting to my rover before we both freeze. As they made their slow way across the ice, Maya felt the temperature plummeting. The alien's armor was indeed bleeding some kind of silvery fluid, and Zeravel's steps grew increasingly unsteady. They were still 20 meters from the rover when her legs gave out completely. Without hesitation, Maya hoisted the alien into a fireman's carry, thanking Europa's low gravity. "If you vaporize me for this," she grunted, "at least wait until we're somewhere warm." She could have sworn she heard a chuckle. "Your irreverence is oddly refreshing." They reached the rover just as the escape pod's field collapsed. The wave of refreezing ice chased them as Maya sealed the airlock, her fingers flying over the controls to start the heating system. Only when the temperature began to rise did she turn to her unexpected passenger. Zeravel sat rigid in the rover's passenger seat, her bearing every inch that of royalty, despite her injuries. But there was something else in her expression now. Curiosity, perhaps even respect. "You saved my life," she stated. "Why?" Maya shrugged, starting to drive back toward the station. "Because you needed help. Doesn't need to be more complicated than that." Indeed. Zeravel was silent for a moment. "My people have long considered humans primitive, you know. Barely worth monitoring. Yet in the span of a few minutes, you've demonstrated technical knowledge, quick thinking, and compassion." She said the last word as if testing its weight. "Well, you've demonstrated that advanced aliens can be just as bad at saying thank you as humans," Maya replied with a small smile. "So I guess we're both learning things today." To her surprise, Zeravel laughed again. "Perhaps we are, Maya-chan. Perhaps we are." As the rover crawled across Europa's icy surface, neither of them could know that this chance encounter would soon reshape the relationship between their species. For now, they were just two beings from vastly different worlds, finding common ground in the most unlikely of places. Human and alien, engineer and royal, both about to discover that the greatest adventures often begin with a simple act of kindness, pride and preservation. The return to Europa Station 7 proved more complicated than Maya had anticipated. As they approached the massive structure carved into the ice, Zeravel's condition deteriorated rapidly. The silvery fluid leaking from her armor wasn't just hydraulic fluid, it was part of her biological support system. "Your medical facilities," Zeravel said through gritted teeth, her crystalline eyes flickering. "They won't be sufficient." Maya guided the rover into the station's airlock. "Maybe not, but letting you bleed out isn't an option. My quarters have independent environmental controls. We can start there." The alien princess studied her with those unsettling diamond eyes. "You would shelter a stranger. An alien? Your superiors. We'll have to deal with it," Maya finished. "Besides, in about 10 minutes, this station's going to detect your pod's energy signature. Better to have you somewhere safe before everyone starts asking questions." Getting Zeravel to Maya's quarters required timing and luck. They managed to avoid the evening shift workers, though Maya's heart nearly stopped when they heard voices around one corner. The alien princess proved surprisingly adept at moving quietly despite her injuries. Once inside, Maya sealed the door and activated her quarters' privacy protocols, a holdover from her previous work in corporate R&D. "Okay, let's see what we're dealing with." Zeravel sank onto Maya's bed, her usual grace failing. The armor's medical systems are trying to compensate, but she touched a panel on her chest piece, and the damaged armor began to retract, revealing what looked like a second skin of shifting colors underneath. Maya's engineering mind kicked into overdrive as she scanned the technology. "It's a molecular repair system, isn't it? But something's disrupted the base programming." The princess's eyebrows rose. "You can understand this technology." "Understand? No. Recognize basic principles." "Yes." Maya grabbed her toolkit. The system's trying to repair damage, but it's stuck in a loop. Like when our mining drones hit patches of unexpected minerals, they keep trying to execute their original programming instead of adapting. She pulled out several tools and her portable diagnostic computer. I might be able to help, but you'll have to trust me. And maybe explain a few things while I work. Zaravale was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice had lost some of its royal hauteur. Among my people, sharing such knowledge with a lesser species would be unthinkable. Good thing I saved your life then, Maya replied dryly. Makes all sorts of unthinkable things suddenly practical. To her surprise, Zaravale laughed, then winced. You are either very brave or very foolish, Maya Chen. I'm an engineer. We're usually both. Maya connected her diagnostic tool to a port on the armor. Now tell me about these systems while I work. The more I understand, the better chance I have of helping. Over the next few hours, as Maya's fingers flew over her tools and computers, Zaravale explained the basics of her people's biomechanical integration technology. The princess seemed surprised by how quickly Maya grasped the concepts, asking increasingly technical questions that showed genuine understanding. Your species, Zaravale observed as Maya bypassed another damaged circuit. You're far more adaptable than our studies suggested. Maybe your studies were asking the wrong questions. Maya frowned at a reading. You can't judge a species just by their technology level. Humans got where we are by being curious and stubborn, and by helping strange aliens who crash on your moons. That's just me being bad at following rules. Maya made a final adjustment. There, try moving now. Zaravale flexed her arm, and the armor responded smoothly. The silvery bleeding had stopped. Remarkable. You've managed to reconfigure the entire repair matrix using primitive tools. She managed to make it sound like both a compliment and an insult. You're welcome, Maya said pointedly. The princess had the grace to look embarrassed. I thank you. Truly, few of my own people could have managed such repairs. Because they're too focused on doing things the right way. Maya started packing up her tools. Sometimes the best solutions come from thinking differently. Their conversation was interrupted by a pounding on the door. Chen, a voice called. Station security. Open up. Zaravale tensed, but Maya held up a calming hand. Looks like they found your pod. Ready to deal with some very confused humans. Are all of them as unique as you? Nope. I'm one of a kind. Maya grinned, but most of us are pretty decent once you get to know us. As Maya moved to open the door, Zaravale caught her arm. Wait. Whatever happens next, know that you have earned both my gratitude and my respect. Those are not easily given. How about we work on earning each other's friendship instead? Maya suggested. Might be more useful in the long run. The princess's crystalline eyes softened. Perhaps you are right, Maya Chen. Perhaps you are right. The hunt below. The station's security response was predictably chaotic. Within hours, Maya's quarters had become the center of an impromptu first contact situation, with Station Director Harrison attempting to balance scientific curiosity against security protocols. Zaravale handled the questioning with diplomatic grace, though Maya noticed her occasional glances seeking silent confirmation. A royal escort will arrive within 3 of your Earth days, the princess explained to the assembled station leadership. Until then, I request asylum under the protection of Maya Chen. This caused a stir among the officials, but Maya spoke before they could object. I'll take responsibility for her. My quarters, my rules. Director Harrison looked like he'd swallowed something sour, but nodded. Agreed, but with conditions. You'll both remain in this section of the station, and all contact with the princess goes through proper channels. That was 12 hours ago. Now, Maya sat at her workstation analyzing data from the crash site, while Zaravale studied the station's mining operations with fascination. Your methods are surprisingly efficient, the princess noted, watching a feed from one of the ice tunnels. Though your technology is basic. Maya was about to respond when her screens flickered. A low vibration rumbled through the station's structure. "That's not normal," she muttered, fingers flying over her console. "These readings." Zaravale moved to look over her shoulder, her proximity sending an unexpected shiver down Maya's spine. "The impact of my pod," the princess said slowly. "It may have had unintended consequences." "What kind of consequences?" Before Zaravale could answer, the station's emergency alerts blared. Maya's console exploded with data. Something was moving in the deeper mining tunnels, something big. "We need to get down there," Maya said, already grabbing her gear. "Those tunnels connect to the main station supports." "Maya," Zaravale's voice was uncharacteristically hesitant. "There are legends among my people, stories of why we abandoned our early exploration of Europa." "Let me guess, not just stories." "The crash disrupted the ice layers, if what I fear is true." The princess touched her repaired armor, and it fully activated, coating her in a seamless shell of iridescent technology. "We should hurry." They made their way to the mining levels, Maya using her access codes to bypass security. The tunnels were eerily quiet, emergency lights casting long shadows on the ice walls. "There," Zaravale pointed. "The ice structure has changed." She was right. The usually uniform ice walls showed new patterns, almost like frozen ripples. Maya's scanner picked up unusual readings. "These formations, they're organic." A distant screech echoed through the tunnels, followed by the sound of rending metal. They exchanged glances and moved faster, following the sounds to mining Tunnel 23. What they found stopped them cold. The tunnel had been transformed, its walls now covered in crystalline growths that pulsed with bioluminescence. In the center of the chamber, a massive mining drill lay in ruins, torn apart by something. "Frost hunters," Zaravale breathed. "They're supposed to be extinct." "Want to tell them that?" Maya gestured at the fresh claw marks scoring the ice. "What exactly are we dealing with?" "Predators from Europa's ancient oceans, preserved in the ice for millions of years. My people encountered them during our first explorations. They hunt through vibration, using the ice as both shelter and hunting ground." Another screech, closer this time. Maya's scanner showed multiple moving signatures converging on their position. The pod crash, Maya realized. The molecular deconstruction field must have thawed them out. And now they're awakening, adapting to the new vibrations your mining creates. Zaravale's armor hummed with power. "We need to warn your people." The tunnel behind them exploded in a shower of ice crystals. A creature emerged, serpentine but covered in crystalline armor, its multiple limbs ending in wicked claws. Its head was a nightmare of sensory organs and feeding appendages. Maya raised her mining laser, knowing it would probably be useless against the creature's natural armor. Beside her, Zaravale's armor pulsed with energy. "Ideas?" Maya asked, backing away slowly. "Several, none good." The princess's voice was tense. "But Maya, whatever happens, I'm glad you're here." "Save the sentiment for when we survive this," Maya replied, though she felt a warmth in her chest despite their dire situation. "Now let's show these things why both our species made it to the stars." The Frost Hunter attacked, and the real test of their partnership began. United front. The creature moved with impossible speed, its crystalline limbs shattering the ice around them. Maya's mining laser struck its armor harmlessly, but the heat made it recoil, giving Zaravale the opening she needed. The princess's armor released a pulse of energy that briefly disrupted the Frost Hunter's crystalline structure. "The joints," Zaravale called out. "Their armor is weakest there." Maya adjusted her laser's focus, targeting the creature's leg joints. The concentrated beam found purchase, and the Frost Hunter screamed, a sound that shook ice from the tunnel walls. "Station control." Maya activated her comm. "We have a serious situation in mining Tunnel 23. Ancient hostile life forms. I repeat, hostile life forms active in the mining levels." Static answered her. The creatures were somehow disrupting communications. More coming, Zeravel warned, her armor sensors detecting movement through the ice. We need a plan. Maya's mind raced, processing everything she knew about the station's systems. The mining network. We can use it against them. These tunnels are lined with resonance dampeners to prevent collapse during drilling. If we reverse the polarity, Zeravel caught on immediately. Exactly. Turn their sensitivity to vibrations against them. Maya was already moving to a control panel, her fingers flying over the interface. But we'll need to get to the main control hub. It's 3 levels down. The wounded frost hunter was recovering, and more shapes were moving in the ice around them. Zeravel's armor reconfigured, forming what looked like a hand cannon. Then we fight our way down. What followed was a desperate race through the mining levels. The frost hunters were learning, adapting their tactics. Each encounter forced Maya and Zeravel to work more closely together, combining human ingenuity with alien technology. Left. Maya shouted as they ran, her scanner tracking movement through the walls. Zeravel fired without hesitation, her weapon disrupting the ice just as a creature burst through. Maya followed up with her laser, targeting the stunned predator's weak points. They developed a rhythm. Zeravel's technology, creating openings that Maya's practical knowledge could exploit. The princess's combat training complemented Maya's understanding of the station's layout and systems. You're surprisingly good at this, Zeravel commented as they sealed another tunnel behind them. Survival training is mandatory for Europa postings, Maya replied, checking her scanner, though they usually focus more on equipment failure than ancient ice predators. Your species continues to surprise me. There was genuine warmth in the princess's voice. Most of my people would have broken by now. Yeah, well, humans are stubborn that way. Maya grinned, then sobered as her scanner beeped. We've got bigger problems. The frost hunters. They're not just attacking randomly. They're following the main support pylons. Zeravel's eyes widened. They're targeting the station's structural integrity. If those pylons fail, the whole station could collapse into the ice. Maya pulled up a schematic on her wrist display. The control hub is 2 sections over. We might have a chance if... The ice beneath their feet exploded. A frost hunter, larger than any they'd seen, erupted into the tunnel. Before either could react, its tail sent them flying in opposite directions. Maya slammed into a wall, her breath knocked out. Through blurred vision, she saw Zeravel engage the creature, her armor's energy weapons flaring. But this hunter was different. Its crystalline armor seemed to absorb the attacks. The princess was forced back, her usual grace hampered by the confined space. Maya struggled to her feet, noting the creature's position. They were near one of the main coolant lines, pipes that ran super-chilled liquid through the station's support structure. A crazy idea formed. Zeravel, she called out. Can your armor generate heat? Yes, but... The princess ducked a savage swipe. When I say now, hit it with everything you've got. Maya began overriding the coolant line's safety protocols. The frost hunter sensed her movement, turning its attention her way. Its multiple eyes fixed on her with ancient hunger. It lunged just as Maya finished her override. Now, Zeravel's armor blazed with energy, unleashing a thermal pulse that enveloped the creature. At the same instant, Maya ruptured the coolant line. The super-chilled liquid met the superheated air around the frost hunter. The temperature differential shattered its crystalline armor like glass. The creature's shriek of agony cut off as its body literally fell apart. For a moment, they stood in stunned silence, steam rising from the frozen coolant. Then Zeravel started laughing, a sound of pure relief and amazement. That, she said, helping Maya up, was either brilliant or insane. With humans, it's usually both. Maya checked her scanner. But we're not done yet. The other hunters are still heading for the support pylons. Zeravel's expression turned serious. Then we finish this, together. Maya felt the princess's hand squeeze hers, and something unspoken passed between them. Whatever happened next, they would face it as equals, human and alien united against a common threat. Together, Maya agreed. Let's save my station and your reputation. They moved deeper into the mining levels, knowing the real battle was just beginning. But now they moved as one, each trusting in the other's strengths. The Frost Hunters were ancient and powerful, but they were about to learn why both humans and the luminous tide had reached for the stars. New horizons. The control hub was a nightmare of shattered ice and crystalline growths when they reached it. 3 Frost Hunters had already breached the outer chamber, their claws tearing at the critical infrastructure that kept Europa Station 7 stable. The resonance control system. Maya pointed to a central console. If we can reach it. A massive impact rocked the station. Warning klaxons blared as support beams groaned under stress. Structural integrity at 47% and falling. The station's AI announced calmly. Complete collapse estimated in 15 minutes. Zeravel's armor reconfigured, forming a protective shield. I'll draw their attention. You get to that console. That's suicide. Maya protested. Their armor adapts to energy weapons. Then I'll have to adapt faster. The princess's eyes met hers. I trust you, Maya Chen. Now trust me. Before Maya could argue, Zeravel charged forward. Her armor blazed with constantly shifting energy patterns, keeping the Frost Hunters confused and angry. They turned to face this new threat, their ancient instincts recognizing the advanced technology as a primary threat. Maya seized her chance, sprinting for the console. Her fingers flew over the controls, bypassing safety protocols and rerouting power. The station shuddered again. Structural integrity at 35%. One of the hunters noticed her, breaking away from Zeravel's dazzling display. Maya didn't look up from her work, trusting her partner completely. Sure enough, a blast of energy struck the creature before it could reach her. Any time now, Zeravel called out, her armor showing signs of strain. Almost. Maya made the final adjustments. Got it. Cover your ears. She slammed the activation control. The resonance dampeners throughout the mining network reversed polarity, sending waves of concentrated vibration through the ice. The effect on the Frost Hunters was immediate and devastating. The creatures' crystalline structures began to vibrate at their resonant frequency. Cracks appeared in their armor as they thrashed in obvious agony. But Maya wasn't done. Second phase, she shouted, activating the station's emergency purge systems. Superheated steam burst from vents throughout the chamber, creating a deadly temperature differential. The Frost Hunters' weakened armor couldn't withstand the sudden change. They shattered like frozen glass. The silence that followed was deafening. Structural integrity stabilizing at 31%. The AI reported. Emergency repairs initiated. Maya sagged against the console, exhausted. Zeravel's armor retracted as she approached, revealing an expression of profound respect, and something more. You did it, the princess said softly. We did it, Maya corrected. I couldn't have. She was cut off by a new sound, the distinctive hum of approaching spacecraft. Through the hub's ice ceiling, they could see multiple ships descending toward the station. Their design was unmistakably of the luminous tide. The royal escort, Zeravel said, but she made no move to leave Maya's side. They're early. Maya felt her heart sink. I guess this is it then. Back to your real life. About that, the princess turned to face her fully. My experience here has taught me much about humans, about Earth, and about myself. The luminous tide has long isolated itself, believing we had nothing to learn from lesser species. We were wrong. She took Maya's hand, sending a shiver of energy between them. I intend to propose a formal alliance between our peoples, starting with a technological exchange program. We offer our advanced systems, you provide your unique perspective and innovation. Your people will agree to that. They'll have to. I am third in line to the throne, after all. Zeravel smiled. Besides, I'll need a human advisor to help implement the program. Someone who understands both our peoples. Someone who isn't afraid to tell a princess when she's being prideful. Maya's heart skipped. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering you a partnership. Zaravel's crystalline eyes sparkled. In all ways that matter. Before Maya could respond, the hub's doors opened. Royal guards in gleaming armor entered, followed by station officials and Director Harrison. The formal first contact between humanity and the luminous tide was about to begin. But in that moment, looking into each other's eyes, Maya and Zaravel knew the real first contact had already happened, in a cave of ice, in desperate battles, and in the growing understanding between two beings from vastly different worlds. Partners, Maya agreed, squeezing Zaravel's hand. I like the sound of that. The princess smiled, and in that smile was the promise of adventures yet to come. Let the diplomats handle the formal treaties. They had already forged something far more precious. A bridge between stars, built on trust, respect, and the kind of connection that transcends species. As the officials approached, Maya and Zaravel stood together, ready to show both their peoples a new way forward. The Frost Hunters had nearly destroyed the station, but in doing so, they had helped create something revolutionary, a partnership that would change the future of both civilizations. And it all began because a human engineer refused to let an alien princess freeze on Europa's ice.